Ever wondered how one simple fall ritual can yield fist-sized garlic bulbs next summer? Many gardeners think the main season ends with the harvest, but in reality, September is precisely when you lay the groundwork for one of your most flavourful and bountiful crops. Today, we're going to uncover all the secrets of planting winter garlic, from choosing the perfect cloves to providing the right winter blanket for your garden beds. And I promise you'll learn a couple of tricks that even experienced gardeners often keep under wraps. Tips that will completely revolutionise your approach to growing garlic. First off, let's clarify what winter garlic actually is. It's not just another variety. It's a true champion that needs the cold of winter to harden off and gather its strength. The frost specifically triggers its internal growth program, enabling it to emerge among the first plants in spring and develop large, juicy bulbs by summer. Skip this autumn planting and you simply won't get results like that. So, let's dive right into the burning question on everyone's mind. When exactly should you plant winter garlic? We've titled this video, September, Time to Plant. But that's just a general guideline, of course. While September is a good benchmark for temperate climates, the weather is a fickle mistress and constantly throws us curveballs. So, blindly following the calendar is the first mistake you can make. There's one golden rule that works flawlessly in any region, in any weather. Remember this: plant your winter garlic 3 to 4 weeks before the first sustained freezes. Not just the first light frost on the ground, but when temperatures consistently drop below freezing and the ground begins to freeze solid. Why is this timing so crucial? Let's consider the plant's natural cycle. In these 3 to 4 weeks, the garlic clove achieves its most vital task, sending out roots. It firmly anchors itself in the soil, establishes roots, and gathers strength for winter. Crucially though, it doesn't have time to sprout green shoots above the ground. And that's exactly what we want. What happens if you plant too early, for instance, in August? The garlic won't just root, it will sprout. Its delicate green shoots will emerge above ground and be mercilessly killed by the first hard frosts. This weakens the bulb, and in spring it will struggle to recover, if it survives at all. And what if you plant too late, right before the frosts hit? The clove simply won't have time to root. It will go into winter weakened and could easily rot or freeze solid in the frozen ground. So, always consult the long-range weather forecast for your specific region. If you live in a southern area, your planting window might extend into October or even early November. Conversely, for northern regions, you might need to finish planting as early as the first half of September. The key indicator isn't a date on the calendar, but the actual temperature outside and the forecast for the next month. Your ultimate goal is to give the garlic enough time to root, but not enough time to sprout. That's the entire secret to perfect planting. Now let's talk about the planting material itself. We've settled on when to plant. But what exactly are we putting in the ground? This is where many gardeners fall into a common trap. The temptation to just grab a head of garlic from the nearest supermarket. It looks so nice, big and white. Why bother looking for anything else? Stop right there. This is one of the biggest mistakes you can make, and it could cost you your entire harvest. Here's the crucial point. Garlic from the grocery store is meant for eating, not for planting. Its primary purpose is to sit on the shelf as long as possible without sprouting. To achieve this, it's often treated with special growth inhibitors that literally suppress its ability to grow. Plant a clove like that, and you'll likely never see a single sprout. It'll just sit in the soil and slowly rot away. What's more, you have no idea what variety you're getting. Very often, it could be a spring garlic variety, which isn't meant for overwintering and will simply freeze and die. And to top it all off, supermarket garlic can harbour hidden diseases that you'd unwittingly introduce to your garden soil. So rule number 2, forget about grocery store garlic for planting. What we need is special, healthy planting stock, specifically intended for fall or autumn planting. You should source it from reputable garden centres, trusted local growers at farmers markets, or even from enthusiastic gardening neighbours who are proud of their harvest. Only then can you be sure you're planting the right variety that's prepared for winter and will yield excellent results. All right, we've successfully chosen the right garlic. However, even with garlic, there are crucial distinctions. All winter garlic generally falls into two broad categories: hardneck and softneck. Don't let the names confuse you, it's quite straightforward. Hardneck varieties are those that send up a flower stalk, or scape in summer, topped with aerial bulbils. Their heads are usually larger, and the cloves are arranged in a single circle around a hard central stem. Softneck garlic, as the name suggests, doesn't produce a scape. Its cloves are smaller and arranged in several rows, almost in a spiral pattern. Softneck varieties generally store better. For truly giant heads, however, hardneck varieties are most commonly planted. Now that we've chosen the type, we move to the most critical stage: selecting your planting stock. You should only break apart the garlic head into individual cloves on the very day of planting, never beforehand. If you do it a week in advance, the basal plate, that little foot where the roots emerge, will dry out and rooting will be significantly hindered. So, carefully separate the head and conduct a rigorous selection process. We only need the best, the outermost, largest and firmest cloves. Inspect each one carefully. It should be free of any spots, dents, or signs of mould. It should also be covered in its complete, undamaged paper wrapper. As for all the smaller, less attractive cloves from the centre of the head, ruthlessly set them aside for cooking. Remember this simple rule: a small clove will never grow into a large head. That's a law of nature. Our goal at this stage is not quantity, but solely the quality of our planting material. So, we've picked out the perfect cloves. Now the next big question, and one that sparks endless debate among gardeners, is whether or not to soak them before planting. Some argue it's just extra work, while others swear by it, insisting it's absolutely essential. As is often the case, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. Soaking isn't strictly mandatory, but it's a highly recommended step. Think of it like getting a flu shot before flu season. You don't have to, but it definitely gives you peace of mind. The primary goal of this pre-planting treatment is disinfection. Even the healthiest looking cloves can harbour fungal spores and bacteria on their surface. Once in the warm, moist autumn soil, these can thrive and potentially jeopardise our entire harvest. So let's give our garlic a little spa treatment. You don't need complex or expensive products for this. Instead, there are several simple, tried and true options. The classic method is a weak, light pink solution of potassium permanganate. Just soak the cloves in it for 20 to 30 minutes. A second, more modern option is to use a biofungicide like phytosporin. Dilute it according to the package instructions and let the garlic soak for half an hour. A third, traditional method is a simple saltwater solution, 1 tablespoon of salt per litre of water. This kind of soak also works wonders for disinfection. After soaking, lightly dry the cloves so they're not dripping wet, and then you can proceed directly to planting. This quick, easy step acts as your insurance against numerous diseases, helping ensure your garlic goes into winter perfectly healthy and ready to thrive come spring. Now that your garlic cloves are prepped and ready, it's time to choose their VIP spot in the garden. Garlic is a true sun lover, thriving on warmth and bright conditions. So, make sure its bed is located in the sunniest, most open and well-heated part of your plot. Avoid any shade from fences, trees or buildings. The more sunshine your garlic receives during spring and summer, the larger and sweeter your bulbs will be. Second, and equally crucial, is the terrain and proper drainage. Garlic absolutely despises standing water. If puddles tend to linger in your chosen spot during spring or after heavy rains, your garlic roots will quickly suffocate and rot. You can forget about a successful harvest in such boggy conditions. Therefore, the ideal spot is a level area or a slight natural elevation. But if your entire garden is in a low-lying area, don't despair. Simply build a raised bed for your garlic, about 20 to 25 centimetres, 8 to 10 inches high. This will guarantee it stays dry and healthy, preventing any waterlogging. Finally, the third and arguably most critical aspect is crop rotation, or more simply, what grew there before. Never, and we mean never, plant garlic in a spot where onions, potatoes, or garlic itself were grown previously. These plants share common diseases and pests that can accumulate in the soil, just waiting to attack your new garlic crop. What's more, they deplete the soil of the same essential nutrients, leaving it exhausted for your garlic. Ideal predecessors for garlic include cucurbits, like cucumbers, zucchini and squash, legumes, peas, beans, brassicas, the cabbage family, or cover crops. These plants leave the soil loose, fertile, and free from common garlic-specific pathogens. Getting the location right is truly half the battle for a bumper garlic harvest. So, you found the perfect spot. What's next? Now, it's time to prepare a true royal bed for our garlic. After all, this is where it will spend the next 8 to 9 months, and the comfort level of its home will directly impact the size of your future harvest. Start preparing your bed well in advance, at least a couple of weeks before planting, to give the soil time to settle. The first step is deep digging. Garlic roots run quite deep, so you'll want to dig to a full spade's depth, about 25-30 centimetres, 10-12 inches. As you dig, carefully remove all weeds and their roots, as well as any stones. Our goal is to make the soil as loose, light and well aerated as possible. As we've mentioned, garlic absolutely hates waterlogged conditions, but it dislikes acidic soil just as much. In acidic soil, it struggles to absorb nutrients, is more prone to disease, and produces smaller heads. The optimal pH level for garlic is neutral. If you know your soil is acidic, you'll need to adjust the pH. To do this, incorporate dolomite lime, hydrated lime, or wood ash when you dig. If you have heavy clay soil that turns as hard as a rock after rain, you absolutely must loosen it. When digging, incorporate sand, peat, or well-rotted compost. This will improve the soil structure, making it more airy and easier for roots to grow. Remember, soil preparation isn't a waste of time. It's the fundamental groundwork upon which all your future success will be built. We've tilled the soil, making it light and airy. Now it's time to give it a proper feeding. This autumn feeding is a crucial step, as garlic will draw on these nutrients to establish its roots and successfully overwinter. But there's one very important detail. The autumn feeding regimen for garlic is fundamentally different from its spring needs. A common mistake for many new gardeners is to incorporate fresh manure or nitrogen-rich fertilizers, like urea or ammonium nitrate, into the soil in autumn. Nitrogen promotes the growth of green foliage. If applied in autumn, this will cause the garlic to sprout prematurely. The green shoots will emerge only to be hit by frost and die. The plant will have wasted its energy, leaving it weakened for winter. So remember, no nitrogen in autumn. So what does our garlic need? In autumn, its primary goal is to develop a strong root system. This is achieved with two other crucial macronutrients, phosphorus and potassium. These are the nutrients we'll be applying. The ideal choices are superphosphate and potassium sulfate. Scatter these over the soil surface before digging, using roughly 1 tablespoon of each per square metre, then work them into the soil. Phosphorus is a slow-release fertiliser, gradually absorbed by the roots throughout autumn and winter. Potassium, meanwhile, boosts the plant's cold hardiness. Besides mineral fertilisers, it's also highly beneficial to incorporate well-rotted compost or aged manure, about 1 bucket per square metre. This not only provides nutrients, but also significantly improves soil structure. This comprehensive autumn feeding will lay the perfect nutritional foundation for our future harvest. Now let's talk about a secret ingredient that many experienced gardeners absolutely swear by. And what is it? Plain old wood ash. You might be tempted to overlook this humble material. But don't. For garlic, it's a genuine powerhouse, boosting both health and yield. Essentially, it's an all-in-one fertiliser and soil conditioner, perfectly crafted by nature itself. First off, wood ash is an invaluable source of potassium, phosphorus, and a whole spectrum of micronutrients. We're talking calcium, magnesium, boron, manganese, and many others. What's more, all these essential elements are in a form readily available for plants to absorb. Applying ash in the fall helps your garlic establish a strong root system, boosting its immunity and overall winter hardiness. Secondly, as we've touched upon, wood ash is a fantastic natural alkalizer. If your soil tends to be acidic, ash will gently and effectively normalize its pH level, creating the perfect environment for your garlic to thrive. Unlike lime, it acts more quickly and provides additional nutrition to boot. Thirdly, wood ash boasts natural antiseptic qualities. It helps create an alkaline environment in the soil, which is unfavourable for the growth of many pathogenic fungi and bacteria. This makes it an excellent preventative against various rots and diseases. So how do you apply it? It's incredibly simple. Simply scatter dry ash over the surface of your garlic bed before digging it in, aiming for about 1 cup per square metre. Alternatively, you can add a small pinch of ash directly into each planting hole when planting, making sure to mix it well with the surrounding soil. This simple step will provide your garlic with extra protection and vital nutrients to see it through the long winter months. All right, everything's prepped, the beds are ready, and our garlic cloves are patiently waiting. Now it's time for the actual planting. And here, without exaggeration, the planting depth is absolutely crucial. This is the parameter that, if you get it wrong, can completely undo all your careful preparation. Plant too shallow and your cloves could freeze out during a harsh, snowless winter, or temperature swings might simply heave them right out of the soil. Plant too deep, and come spring, your garlic will waste precious energy and time struggling to reach the surface and sunlight. It'll emerge late, be weakened, and ultimately produce smaller heads. So, what's the magic number for ideal depth? There's a simple yet brilliant rule that's incredibly easy to remember. The 3 heights rule. This means your planting depth should be 3 times the height of the individual clove. In other words, once the clove is in the ground, there should be 2 more clove heights of soil above its tip. Let's put that into practice. A good-sized planting clove is typically around 2 to 3 centimetres, about 1 inch, tall. Multiply that by 3, and you get an ideal planting depth of 6 to 9 centimetres, 2.5 to 3.5 inches. This, my friends, is our golden standard. Of course, you'll want to adjust slightly for your specific soil type. In light, sandy soils, which tend to freeze deeper, you can go a bit deeper, perhaps up to 10 centimetres, 4 inches. For heavy clay soils, plant a little shallower, around 5 to 6 centimetres, 2 to 2.5 inches, to make it easier for the shoots to emerge. But as a general rule of thumb, aiming for 7 to 8 centimetres, about 3 inches, is usually spot on. Keep this simple rule in mind, and you'll consistently get your planting depth just right. Now that we've covered planting depth, let's talk about personal space. Garlic is a bit of an individualist. It truly thrives when it has plenty of room and doesn't like being cramped. To form large, well-developed bulbs, each plant needs sufficient space for its root system to expand and for proper nutrient uptake. If you plant cloves too close together, they'll compete fiercely for light, water, and essential nutrients. The result won't be a bountiful harvest of generous, full-size bulbs, but rather a bed full of small, underdeveloped garlic. There's a classic, time-tested planting scheme that ensures optimal space for every single plant. The distance between neighbouring cloves in the same row should be at least 10, but ideally 15 centimetres, about 4 to 6 inches. This is ample room to ensure they don't impede each other's growth. Equally important is the spacing between the rows themselves, often referred to as row spacing or inter-row distance. You'll want to make these wider, about 20 and 25 centimetres, roughly 8 to 10 inches. Why this extra margin? Firstly, it again provides a good area for nutrient absorption. Secondly, it creates adequate air circulation and sunlight for the plants, which is an excellent preventative measure against fungal diseases. And thirdly, wide row spacing simply makes your life easier. In spring and summer, you'll find it much simpler to loosen the soil, pull weeds, and water your bed without risking damage to the plants themselves. Don't try to save space by planting too densely. In gardening, this approach simply doesn't pay off. The more personal space, within reason, you allocate to each plant, the more generously it will reward you with the size and quality of its harvest. Now, for a detail that's both simple and crucial, yet often trips up beginners, how do you correctly plant a garlic clove in the soil? It sounds straightforward enough, doesn't it? Yet, this seemingly minor point holds the key to a robust, healthy start. Every garlic clove has a top and a bottom. The bottom is the basal plate, that flat, slightly rough heel where it was attached to the main bulb. This is where the roots will emerge. The top is the pointy end, from which the green shoot will sprout. Your goal is to plant the clove strictly upright, basal plate down, pointy end up. What happens if you plant it on its side? Or even worse, upside down? Nothing catastrophic, thankfully. Garlic is a smart and resilient plant. It will still figure out which way is up for the shoot and down for the roots. But this acrobatics underground will cost it precious time and a tremendous amount of energy. The shoot will be forced to loop and bend, twisting to find its way to the sun. As a result, it will emerge later, looking weaker and often crooked. All that energy spent on underground acrobatics could have gone into forming a much larger, healthier bulb. So take your time. Dig a hole of the appropriate depth, gently place the clove in the correct orientation, and then carefully cover it with soil. And here's another crucial tip. Absolutely do not force or twist the clove into the soil. Doing so can damage the delicate basal plate and compact the soil directly beneath it, which will significantly hinder root development. Just a gentle, careful placement into a pre-dug hole. This small nuance directly impacts the strength and speed of your garlic spring growth. Garlic's in the ground. Excellent! It might seem like the main work is done and you can happily head home for a cup of tea. But hold on, we have one crucial final step left, protecting our garlic for winter. This process is called mulching. Mulch is a protective layer of organic material that we spread over the surface of the garden bed. For winter garlic, this isn't just a recommendation, it's a vital necessity, especially in regions with harsh or low snow winters. Why is it so important? First, mulch acts as a winter blanket for your garlic. It smooths out drastic temperature swings, protects the soil from deep freezing during severe frosts, and prevents the formation of an icy crust. Under such cover, your garlic cloves will overwinter in much more comfortable and stable conditions. Secondly, mulch is excellent at trapping snow, and snow, as we know, is the best insulation for all winter crops. The thicker the snow cover on your bed, the warmer your garlic will be. Third, come spring, mulch will provide yet another benefit. It will prevent rapid moisture evaporation from the soil after the snow melts, keep the soil loose, and suppress early weeds. As it decomposes, it will become an additional organic fertilizer. So, what makes good mulch? You have many options: dry, fallen leaves from healthy trees, peat, well-rotted compost or manure, straw, grass clippings, seed-free, or pine needles. Pine straw. The mulch layer should be quite thick, 5 to 10 centimetres, 2 to 4 inches. Don't cover the bed immediately after planting. Wait until the first consistent frosts begin. This prevents mice from making cosy nests in the warm mulch. Proper winter protection is your guarantee that 100% of your planted garlic will successfully overwinter and vigorously sprout in spring. And here's the most amazing part, one that many often miss. The real magic doesn't happen in spring, when the first green shoots appear. It happens now, in autumn, and then throughout winter, beneath the snow, while we're sipping hot tea and gazing out the window. Down there, underground, each clove undergoes a cold hardening process, stratification. Without this winter spa treatment, you simply won't get those large, robust heads of garlic. You're not just planting a clove, you're initiating a complex biochemical process. Your main task is to ensure a proper start in autumn. In spring, you'll just need to give nature a little help to achieve a truly massive harvest. So, let's recap. The right timing, selected cloves, loose and nutritious soil, correct planting depth, and a winter blanket of mulch. These are the 5 pillars supporting your future harvest of large, healthy winter garlic. By following these simple rules, you're guaranteed to achieve results you'll be proud of. Thank you for watching this video to the end. I hope these tips were helpful. If you learnt something new, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our spring garlic care secrets. Now, a question for you. Do you have any family secrets for planting winter garlic? Or perhaps you're just planting it for the very first time? Share your experience in the comments below.